I watched The Quiet on Set, the Nickelodeon documentary about Dan Schneider and others. Did you watch it? And how do you feel? Let's discuss. I watched it, all 4 parts, and literally last night's part made me fucking cry. It made me cry. I literally want Dan Schneider, Brian Peck, Jason Handy, that other creep, Ezekiel, whatever his name is. Every executive at Nickelodeon who was around when Dan Schneider was on these shows, everybody who enabled his behavior, I want their head on a stick. I want them buried under the jail. They do not deserve to be having thriving careers. Wherever they are in their life, wherever they are, they do not deserve to be having thriving lives. They are despicable human beings who deserve to be under the jail. Now, obviously, Drake Bell is like a really big focal point of this documentary, and so him telling his story was really brave of him. I don't care how you feel about him as an adult and what he has done in his adult life when it comes to his allegations. We're talking about teenage Drake Bell right here, and all I want to do is go and hug teenage Drake Bell and tell him that it's okay and it was not his fault. And his mom is trash because his dad told the mom that he had been on set with Drake, saw the weird behavior of Brian Peck, told her to not let Drake be alone with Brian Peck, and she still allowed this poor teenage boy to go sleep at a 40-plus-year-old man's house alone. The mom is trash. The mom is trash. We do not like Drake's mom. And I hope that Drake doesn't have anything to do with his mom at this point because trash. His dad on that documentary, literally sitting there crying because he feels like he failed his son, is so heartbreaking to me. His mom is trash. His mom is a trash individual. She let this happen. I don't care what you say. His mom is absolute garbage. Garbage. Now, besides what happened to poor Drake, there's a lot of other things that went on, specifically on the set of The Amanda Show and all that. Not the 90s all that, although, yes, there are talkings of the 90s all that in this documentary. People like Katrina Johnson, who was on seasons 1 through 3, and Leon Frierson, who was on seasons 4 through 6. They both tell stories about the original all that, and Katrina even talks about when she first met Amanda Bynes, and they talk heavily about Amanda Bynes in this because, the Amanda Show is an important part of this whole thing. And even the female writers who were on the set of The Amanda Show talk about their time on there, and it's brutal. It's brutal. I can't even talk about some of the things that they went through on TikTok, but it's brutal, bro. Just look up one of the female, writers talking about, how she was making this, talking about her high school experience or whatever, and Dan made her do something really inappropriate while talking about her being in high school. Sick. Not to mention the fact that he was trying to get over on both of them by trying to make them share a salary, which was completely illegal. Like, bro, really? You disgusting man. Now, if you notice, there aren't a lot of female writers on a lot of Dan Schneider shows, and if there are, we don't really know about them. But also, Dan Schneider is a really crazy producer and crazy creator, and he basically watchdogs and watches people like a hawk when they are editing or trying to go over scenes with these child actors, and it's disgusting. It's super gross. But as we know, the female writers from The Amanda Show got fired, and we really hadn't seen any more writers that were women on these shows ever again. And that is concerning in itself. Also, there were talks of racism that we never really hear about, but because a lot of the people who came forward were either Black, people of color, or women who came forward around all of this, there were a few guys, but who came about all of this, the racism aspect, it became frontal in my brain because I never really looked at it that way because I grew up on 90s Nickelodeon, like actual 90s Nickelodeon. And when I grew up, everybody was Black on Nickelodeon. Damn near. Almost everybody was Black on Nickelodeon. And so for me, I was under the assumption that, Nickelodeon is this culturally, relevant mecca for kids. Everybody almost is Black on Nickelodeon. So that's fine. We have a lot of women on there. It's cool. We're cool. No. When you hear about Brian Hurd and Giovanni Samuel's time on All That in the 2000s, they were the token black kids. They were treated unfairly. They were not given the same respect as the other cast members on that show. And Brian Hurd even talks about this sketch on All That he had to do where he was like the youngest rapper. He was like this fetus. And so he had to be in this bodysuit. And of course he's brown skinned. So he was supposed to be in a brown skinned bodysuit. But somebody, we don't know if it's Dan Schneider or who it was who said this, but they said, oh, well, we should make it charcoal colored. Charcoal. And then Brian Hurd's mom said that this one sketch where he was giving Girl Scout cookies to Frankie Muniz or selling them on the street, she was like, why is my son doing this? So you want my son to look like he's the crack addict selling, Girl Scout cookies to Frankie Muniz? Racism. Racism. Right? Racism. Okay? He only liked Kenan and Kel in the 90s because they were his cash cows. But once Kenan and Kel left the channel, he did not have to hide his racism anymore. And it's disgusting. It's completely and utterly gross to watch. Completely disgusting. Completely. So, there's that. And then, of course, again, what Drake Bell went through. And I'm just so sorry, Drake. I really, really am. You did not deserve any of that. And the fact that he engraced himself, Brian Peck engraced himself into every inch of your life to the point where you were sleeping at his house is just disgusting. Where were the adults? And then Kyle Sullivan, who was also on All That in the 2000s, he talked about going to Brian Peck's house for a party and him showing him his clown painting that was a gift from John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy. And they were actual pen pals. Pen pals, bro. I'm so annoyed. I am so annoyed. The people on the Amanda Show were not taken care of. The people on All That were not taken care of. The people on none of these shows were. They talk about the Ariana Grande thing and about how he over-sexualized her to the nth degree when he had those slap videos. If you know about the slap, you know about the slap. It's disgusting. You can look it up. It's disgusting. It's completely and utterly disgusting. Him being in rooms by himself with Amanda Bynes, talking about business, talking about her career, is disgusting. Without parents is disgusting. That's not okay. That's not okay. Like, all of it is just so gross. And the fact that there were over 4 or 3 child SAers on these sets and nobody blinked an eye. And you can say, oh, but they didn't know because these people weren't actually, registered at the time or, whatever. Do you do background checks? Do you care? And the fact that Brian Peck is still out here working on kids' television is disgusting to me, and I hate it. And he only did 16 months after what he did to Drake. And I'm completely and utterly disgusted by that. And I really, 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 really hate it. I really do. These kids deserved better. They really, really did. And then, of course, what Alexa Nicholas went through with Dan Schneider and so many who didn't even speak in this documentary. Between Jeanette McCurdy's book, which I know was one of the catalysts for this documentary, and I'm really, really glad that she put that out. And just everybody who has been speaking over time, the YouTubers who have been making these content about all of this for years before it was even big in the media and it was all speculation and rumor, thank you. Because I'm so glad this all is coming out in the wash. And all I have to say is, Dan Schneider, count your days. Count your days. You need to be in jail. You need to be under the jail. You need to be somewhere far, far away from children. And you need to take Brian Peck, and you need to take Jason Handy, and you need to take whatever the other dude's name was. You need to take all of those people and all the executives at Nickelodeon who knew about all of this and